Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me again today for another video, and it's crazy to think that today is the last day of 2017. Tomorrow's going to be 2018 and I'm not sure I'm ready for it. Quickly before I started the video, I wanted to let you know that I will have a limited amount of prints of this drawing up in my shop. They're going to be hand signed and the link is going to be down in the description. So I'm not really selling prints apart from these and another drawing. One of my Inktober drawings, I'm going to have 50 of those up as well. So grab prints if you want to while you can because they're limited. But okay, getting on to the topic for this video, which is going to be which medium is best for you. And so I know when you're a new artist, it's very hard to decide which medium you would like to sort of make your primary. I use a lot of mediums, but I do primarily work with pencil, watercolor, and digital paintings. And I do know how to work with oils, with acrylics, and also with markers and ink as well. I just like to stick to the other ones because it kind of fits my style a little bit more. So one of the first tips I have for when you're deciding which medium you would like to use primarily is, first off, don't start off with the stigma that a certain medium is better than another medium. Not a lot of people have this, but some of the older people or some of the more, I don't know, stuck-up people. And if you're one of these, I'm sorry, I literally just called you stuck-up, but it's true. Some people think that oil painting is better than digital painting, and I can see their argument. But at the same time, you can't discredit the fact that somebody who digitally paints puts a lot of work and effort into their pieces, as well as somebody who's an oil painter. And both have different audiences and different messages that they're better at communicating. So I don't think it's right to discredit one medium because you think another one is more posh or something, you know? I've worked with both, you know, painting software on a computer and with oil paintings, and I can't really say that I feel like I'm so much better because I can oil paint or something. I think the medium that you choose is very much based upon what story you want to communicate or what feelings you want to evoke. And I don't think you should start off with a stigma about which mediums are better than others because different mediums could surprise you. But it is true that each medium sort of has more of a mood that it conveys rather than other ones. And so that you should choose which medium you want to use primarily according to whatever you want to evoke in your artwork. For example, the drawing for this video, I first off started with a ballpoint sketch in my sketchbook, and it was just a little sketch, and I knew I wanted to elaborate upon it in a bigger piece. I just needed to figure out which medium I wanted to use. And the reason I decided to use pencil and red pencil, there was actually a reason, it wasn't random. So I decided to use pencil because of how light and airy it can look, and as opposed to ink, which would have a much heavier feel. Watercolor, it could have also weighed it down a little bit. I know that the way I watercolor, it would have weighed it down, and definitely oils and digital paintings, they would both have made it much fuller and voluminous looking. And so I decided to use pencil because I liked how wispy and airy it looked. And the reason I used red pencil was because I wanted the clouds to be bleeding, and I knew that with graphite pencil I wasn't going to be able to communicate the bleeding aspect as well. And so then I decided to just use a red pencil because even though the drawing is monochromatic, it would be more suggestive of blood, you know? I didn't know if I should just do everything in graphite except for the bleeding to be red, and I thought that would just be kind of kitsch looking, so I decided to do the whole thing in red. And by the way, I know I'm not the best artist out there and this is just all my personal opinions, but that's kind of the way I think of different mediums that I use. I think about what would be best suited to convey with those mediums. So I think that when you're starting off and trying to decide which medium you would like to use, one of the important things is to look at a lot of artists that you like, respect, or admire, and see what mediums they use and how they capitalize on the strong points of those mediums to tell their story or evoke feelings. And thinking about what you want to communicate with your artwork, think about which medium would be best suited for what you want to do. As I said, pencil drawings are very light and wispy looking a lot of the time. Sometimes they're not, but a lot of the time they are. Watercolors, in my opinion, look very vibrant and sometimes evoke sort of like a childish, nostalgic feeling. Oil paintings are very full and very lifelike, and somehow they just give me a warmer feeling. and digital paintings are good for dynamic poses and strong lighting and that kind of stuff. Of course, there's a bunch of other mediums that you could try out. These are just a couple of the ones that I use, and the descriptions of each that I stated are kind of what I keep in mind whenever I'm deciding what I want to paint or draw and what I want to communicate, you know? Usually, I don't just have like very strong messages in my artwork. I just like to evoke feelings, and so that's how I choose my mediums. So I would suggest starting off with a simple pencil or ballpoint sketch of whatever you want to draw and how it could be best conveyed through whatever medium you use. And one thing that I want to mention in this video, I should make a video talking about cheaper art supplies versus expensive art supplies, but quickly I wanted to say that when you're starting off, don't buy artist grade art supplies unless you're very devoted to the idea of working with them and you know you're going to like them, which is not really the case a lot of the time. So I would definitely say start off with something beginner to like amateur, not the cheapest thing because you're going to have a hard time working with that medium, but definitely also almost to the middle price range, you know? There are really good art supplies that you can use that are inexpensive, and a lot of times the reason that professional artists will use artist grade qualities is because of their longevity, their lifetime, you know, and the color payoff. And the fact that they won't fade, because as a professional artist selling a product, you don't want to sell something that in 2 years will have faded. You want something that will actually last, because if your client is going to spend a lot of money on something, you are sort of indebted to give them something that will last for a while. Also, artist grade supplies will have a higher color payoff and it will be a little bit easier to work with, but at a beginner's level, that's really something that you're not going to even detect because you are sort of a beginner and you haven't worked with a medium enough to really tell the difference too well. So definitely say start off with something that is relatively inexpensive. For example, I haven't really tried them, but I've heard a lot of good opinions that Reeves art supplies are very good. There's also a couple of art supplies that I've done reviews on my channel if you'd like to check them out. And a lot of the times, the medium that you use doesn't really define the end result. Sometimes it does because of such a poor quality, but even a poor quality medium can still be utilized. I don't use the highest quality materials all the times, and a lot of times you've seen that I just do pencil drawings on pretty inexpensive paper, just regular mechanical pencils, not drawing pencils, you know? It doesn't really matter that you buy the most expensive supplies, just learn the medium and you keep getting used to them. And if the idea of trying out a new medium is daunting for you, I just want to say that everybody's had to be new at a certain medium at one point, and it is very challenging to start off with any medium, but just push through it. With art, a lot of times you just have to keep pushing through the grossest and most atrocious artwork and you will basically get to a good point. Usually my watercolor paintings, they look disgusting until almost the end, you know? Same with my oil paintings, and so I would definitely say that just push through it and be patient and persevere. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was maybe a little bit helpful to you. And so yeah, I'm pretty proud of this little drawing that I made. I had a really hard time recording a painting or drawing for today's video. It took me about 6 tries to get it right, so I'm really happy that I finally have something that I'm pretty proud of. And it will be up for sale in my shop. It's going to be listed down in the description, and my shop is only going to be open for like 2 more weeks, so definitely check it out if you're interested in it. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and Happy New Year. I will talk to you guys next week, which is going to be in 2018, which is really crazy. Bye.